everybody. I almost went back to the starting screen.
Yeah.
I just caught myself at the last second because I had to scroll upward. But hey, everybody, happy Labor Day if you're in the United States. Got a day off today. I had a little bit of a day off. I still had some work to do, but not a huge amount, which was kind of nice. But yeah, so here's what happened with this. I've decided to do a double feature because of reasons. Because the first movie, The House That Would Not Die, that was actually recommended by someone on our Patreon. And I had seen it before, like a long time ago, and I remembered it being pretty good. So I said, okay, well, I couldn't think of another movie, and I said, okay, we'll do that one. And so we watched that one, and Tom was kind of like, that was just all right. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but whatever. And then, like, all of these other 70s made-for-TV horror movies came up, and I love those. And I saw one on there that's called Home for the Holidays that had a very young Sally Field in it, and I was like, I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch that one too. I think I ended up liking that one a little bit better. And the thing about it is that one, I'll get to that one second, but it was almost like it came out in 1972, like it was on TV in 1972, and it's almost like a Christmas slasher.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years before Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. It's kind of more like a murder mystery,
They
but
were
it
both-
definitely has slasher elements.
They're both made for TV.
Yeah.
They're very 70s.
Yeah.
Which there's a certain tone. If you like movies from that era, and I do like movies from that era, but mostly like the bigger budget ones and things that were for the big screen. Now, Salem's Lot, that was made for TV. That was on another level. That one was really good. But these are kind of like the forgettable ones from that era. If you haven't seen the big name classics, you want to see those first. But if you're into that kind of genre, then and you haven't seen these, then yeah, see them. But for me, I thought they were both kind of dull, and I think it's because there's not a lot of action in them, not a lot of gore or anything. Because they were made for TV.
I mean, they're made for TV, and they were made for TV in the early 1970s, so there wasn't really a lot.
They're more like thrillers, and it's kind of like fucking a lot of drama in it, psychological kind of shit. But it's not there. To me, I didn't find it a big horror to it. They're paranormal.
Well, the first one was. The second one was, like I said, kind of more like a slasher.
Yeah. First one was paranormal. There's a lot of stuff about seances in it and spirits.
Possessions.
Although, the dude gets possessed a little bit and does some shit off color, but it's not like he transforms like the girl from The Exorcist or anything.
Like his head didn't turn around or nothing.
Right.
It's like, we can't afford to do that. Come on. You just have to act like a meanie.
Yeah. So he just did it through acting.
Yeah. Acting.
It was okay, yeah. It's okay for television, yeah. And,
like I said,
and these are decent edits. You can still see it free on YouTube.
They're
decent copies.
Yeah, both of these are available on YouTube to watch for free. The weird thing about it, like I said, I'd seen The House That Would Not Die before, and I'd heard about it. I don't know how I never heard of Home for the Holidays, though, especially because it has like a lot of really famous people in it, and was, like I said, kind of a proto-Christmas slasher, which was... kind of blew my mind a little bit. And like I said, I think I ended up liking that one slightly better just because I thought it was scarier, even though both of them, and I think maybe this is a testament to, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but because we've seen so many of these types of movies since then, like, you can always tell, like, how it's gonna, like, even you can tell they're trying to do a twist. Yeah. But it's not a twist because, like, and that was particularly true for Home for the Holidays because it was a murder mystery, and I think within like 20 minutes I was like, I bet that bitch is the killer, and I was right.
Yeah, so. Home for the Holidays was kind of like a Giallo, kind of.
Yeah, but like I said, it was almost kind of like like a Christmas slasher movie.
Yeah, and it had a real young Sally Fields in it. She's cute as a bug.
I wonder how old she was in this. This was
18.
1972. How old was she in 1972?
I don't know. In 77, she did Smoking a Bandit. I was looking at her in 1970. I was going, well, she'd make a great Princess Leia. But in 77, she would have been a little... She did Smoking a Bandit. So it was comedic roles, and I think she probably was a little too old to be Princess Leia. But she would have. If they were going to make Star Wars in 71, you put Sally Fields in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, she'd have been a good...
Well,
she looked like a little
Princess Leia. She was
Leia.
in The Flying Nun, somebody mentioned.
Yeah,
right? I had forgotten all about that. Like, that... I think it was before this.
Before.
In this, she's the youngest sister, but she's still, like, supposed to be a college student. Because I think, like, at one point her dad asked her about graduate school, and she says she's in her first year. So she's meant to be, like, in her early 20s, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But she looks real young. I mean, she always really looked real young to me. Okay, so...
She was little, had baby face.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a couple scenes with her, like, talking to, the other characters, and I was like, oh my god, she's so small.
Yeah, she's little.
I always forget, like, how fucking small she is.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned that when we talked about, was it Stroker Ace?
Stroker Ace.
One of the movies that she did with Burt Reynolds, where they were, like, talking, and it's like, she's, like, half his size.
That was his real-life girlfriend, too.
For a while, at that time.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds and fucking Sally Field.
Yeah, they were going out for a
and
long
Dom DeLuise was his real-life Fred, too.
Yeah. Well, that's why they were in so many.
That's why they were so good in those movies together.
Yeah, because they were all buddies in real life.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, here's one thing that I did not know about The House That Would Not Die. It actually stars Barbara Stanwyck, who was kind of one of the big movie actresses from the golden age. This, I think, was her first TV movie. I'm not sure how old she was in this. I don't think she's as old as she's being portrayed. I think it's the white hair.
Yeah.
Because she has, like, it's beautiful, like, the white hair, but it's, like, I think it's making her look much older.
They were trying to make her look older.
Than she actually is. Yeah. And, like, some of the fashion choices in this are kind of interesting, too. Like,
she was hot, though.
I thought so. She kind of reminded me, she actually looks quite a bit like my maternal grandmother, who died last year. She looks a lot like that.
I think she was actually kind of a well-preserved 40s, that they were trying to make her look like a 60-year-old.
Maybe. Like, it was hard to say because I was kind of looking at her, like, I said, if she had, like, brown hair.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm looking at her face and, like, her neck and her hands and stuff like that, and I'm like, she doesn't look that old to me.
No, she's not that old.
Like, but I don't know how old she was in 1970. Like, I'm sure somebody could probably
pull it up.
But,
the way people aged in the 70s, she was probably only 40.
I mean, wouldn't that be funny? Because Tom was like, she's probably younger than you are.
She's probably younger than you are.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know how old she was. But she actually, if she was in her 60s for real in the movie, she looks like a very well-preserved.
Oh, yeah, super good.
60s. Because, like I said, she didn't have, like, turkey neck or anything like that. She looked, like, really good. She wasn't even all, she didn't look like all that wrinkly or nothing.
Yeah.
And, and they put her in, like, like I said, the fashions they put her in were odd. But kind of interesting. Like, I thought they were sort of cool, actually.
They were trying to give it, like, a retro gothic look. Like
she was trying to be sort of glamorous.
Glamorous, but like a Hammer horror or something, I think. That's what I think. They were trying to give her kind of a mystical look.
Yeah. Or something.
They were trying to take the movie and put it out of time a little bit, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, because everybody was wearing shit that kind of harkened back to the late 1800s. It looked like, that's not what it was, but I think they were trying to get that 1800s hammer.
Maybe so, because that's kind of what that's the era the house was supposed to be from, like, right? Because they said the house had been built, like, in the 18th century or something like that. So, the titular House That Would Not Die. So, like I said, this is interesting because this is actually based on a novel called Amy Come Home by Barbara Michaels, who wrote a metric shit ton of novels. I don't think that's her real name. I think that's a pseudonym. But she wrote, like, a bunch of names under a bunch of different, bunch of novels under a bunch of different names. But the screenplay for this was written by Henry Farrell, who was the same guy who wrote the screenplay for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh, yeah.
Which we covered not too long ago. Yeah. And on a tangent to that...
That was a bad movie. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love that movie. But, Joan Crawford was in that, and I recorded yesterday a review of the movie that she was in 1964 called Straight Jacket, and I'm going to put that up tomorrow, so look out for that.
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? I forgot. That was a creepy-ass flick.
Yeah, we just reviewed it not too long ago.
Yeah, ahead of its time. Psycho's remembered, but that one I think is weirder than Psycho, actually.
It is a lot weirder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Psycho had a lot of rip-offs, one of which was Straight Jacket, the movie that I'm going to put the video up. Straight Jacket actually came out 2 years after Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. But yeah, so this is the same screen writer. So Barbara Stanwyck plays this woman, this older woman named Ruth. And she inherits this house. I don't think they ever said specifically where it was, but I looked it up. It's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Like, it's in Amish country. Like, it's a sort of isolated house. Now, she says, I think offhand, that it belonged to some cousin that she barely knows. But I guess she was, like, the last surviving relative or whatever. So she ended up with this house. Now, for whatever reason, she has living with her niece, whose name is Sarah, who's, like, college age. You know what I mean? Like, early 20s or something like that. So they are going to go and move into the house together. And they think it's awesome and everything like that when they first get there. But as they soon discover, it's not so great. So the first thing about this that kind of cracked me up. So they're kind of like going around the house, like taking all the sheets off the furniture and shit like that. And this dude just fucking straight up wanders ass right into the house. Hey, I'm your neighbor. I'm like, get the fuck out my house. You know what I mean? Like, I guess in 1970, a much more innocent time, like random dudes could just wander in your fucking house like that and it was fine. But, you know, and he looks like pretty fucking creepy, to be honest. Richard Egan is the name of that actor. I've seen him like in other things too, but I think that was who that it was. But yeah, so he comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm just your neighbor and, you know, I'm an anthropology professor and blah, blah, blah. So basically the long and short of it is, pretty soon into the thing, like, they're kind of like, oh, the house is supposed to be haunted, yada, yada. And they decide, one of them randomly knows a psychic, because, you know, don't we all? And they decide to do a seance in the house, because it'll be super fun, right? And you know how that goes in these kind of movies. It's never a great idea. And they always live to regret it.
Unleashing the ghosts.
Unleashing the ghosts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Opening the portal.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they have this seance. And basically what happens at it is, I will say that the acting in this, Barbara Stanwyck is great. Richard Egan is great. The chick that plays Sarah is, I think this might have been her first movie. She's a little over the top. And the woman that plays the psychic is a little over the top. Especially during the possession kind of scenes. And they do kind of say the same things over and over instead of like imparting. I guess that's pretty common like in haunting, possession, seance type of movies. Like, because you can't just have a ghost turn up and go, hey, I'm going to tell you exactly, like, and just exposit, like, the entire fucking plot. You know what I mean? Because then all the mystery would be gone. So it has to be all inscrutable and shit. So I get it. But, you know, it got a little tiresome, like, in the middle of the movie, I will say. So this first seance, I think the psychic, like, just flips out. And then Sarah starts... I don't remember if it was the first, because they had more than one seance. But I think what ended up happening was that one of them, like, this other guy that she immediately was her boyfriend, like, when she moved there, which I was like, okay, they didn't set that up at all. But, you know, there's like, oh, hey, I know this guy your age, and it's like, suddenly they're inseparable, so whatever. They didn't have any time to set that up, I suppose. So he sees, like, someone else's face, like, over her face at the seance. I think prior to this, they had also gone to, like, a thrift store and found this painting of what they thought was a random dude. Did they know it was the guy that had owned the house, or was it just a coincidence? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
But so they end up and they put it there, but then like the painting keeps falling off the wall and getting destroyed and falling in the fireplace and all this other kind of shit. So that kind of stuff goes on. There's like this door to the cellar that keeps opening randomly. There's like wild like poltergeist activity, like wind blowing through the house. And Ruth, the older lady, she has this weird ass dream which is actually sort of creepy, where she's sort of like walking through the yard and then she sees her niece like coming at her, but her niece keeps going in and out of like someone else's face and like saying, please help me, and all this other kind of stuff. So you're led to assume that there's probably more than one ghost in here. And as the time goes on, it seems like Sarah is getting possessed by one of the ghosts who seems to want help, but they don't really know what she needs help with. They also hear a disembodied voice out in the yard several times, like a man's voice saying, Amy, come home, like over and over again. And also the guy, what's his name? Pat, the professor. Him and Ruth kind of get into a little flirtation relationship kind of thing. And he kind of starts to get possessed too, because he comes over like for a little dinner party or something like that. And they kind of start like, hey, like they're gonna smooch or whatever. And then he gets like all fucking rapey with it. You know what I mean? He's like, ah, like she's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And so, and then like the other kid, like the boyfriend of the niece is kind of like, yeah, I saw this fucking evil shit come over his face. And I think like he's getting possessed too. So pretty much the whole middle of the movie is just them having more seances, Sarah having like possession kind of shit where like she wakes up in the middle of the night talking in somebody's voice, tries to strangle her aunt, like all this other kind of shit. Like she's acting all crazy. Now Pat doesn't believe it. He's like the token skeptic. So he's sitting there going, I'm pretty sure it's schizophrenia. Like maybe we should get her to a mental health professional, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the other two were like, no, pretty sure this is like haunting, bro. So we need to do something about that. So they want to do like some history, go into the history of the house and see what the hell is going on. And it will probably shock you because they kind of fill in details about the history of the house, like the dude that owned it and stuff. And they said, yeah, he was like a colonel or something like that. And, or a general. I don't remember. I think he was a general.
I don't remember the details either.
It was like in the 1780s.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't, yeah. And he, his daughter, like, disappeared. Because there was something about that. But then, like, as time goes on, they find, like, all these papers up in the attic, and then they end up finding this hidden wall, like, behind in the basement or whatever, that's all been all bricked over. And it ends up that the guy, I guess he was, like, a traitor. Like, he was working with the British. It was the Revolutionary War. And the Amy, or Amanda, who was the female ghost that's been possessing Sarah, who was his daughter, I guess she found out about it, and the boyfriend found out about it, and they were going to elope and leave, and he didn't want them to do that, and so he killed them and, like, buried them in the basement, and it was this whole thing. So, like I said, it's a pretty standard ghost story. Like, you know, you move into a house, all this weird, inexplicable shit starts to happen, then it finds out that there's some kind of story going on, and, you know, and everything works out okay in the end. No one gets killed or anything like that. Unlike the second movie. The second movie has pretty high body count. This one, nobody died. Like, other than the ghosts, obviously. That's a given that they're already dead. But none of them got killed or particularly hurt, even. But, you know, if you like 70s haunted house movies, which I do, like, there's just something about them that's really appealing to me. Like, even if they're not, like, the super, like, great ones, you know what I mean? They made some really cool fucking horror movies, like, made for TV in the 70s. You know, I mean, and some of them weren't ghost stories, like, you know, Duel and stuff like that, but they made one.
Yeah, Duel's classic. That could have been shown in the damn movie theater.
Well, yeah, and that was Richard fucking Matheson. I mean,
yeah,
that dude's a legend.
I remember when that came out on television, fucking people talked about it for years, and they replayed it many times.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Gargoyles. I saw it when it originally aired.
That was also made for TV.
Made for TV, and then they we reviewed it already. And they replayed it many times.
Yep. Yeah, I remember seeing it several times.
Yeah. They might replay that thing once a year. Oh man, there's Gargoyles is coming on. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it didn't age as well. It was the costumes were pretty good for the time.
For TV.
For TV it was real good, yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. There were problems with the story, but like, were they from hell? Were they coming back? Were they trying to? He was trying to. You know, it was kind of like, what were the Gargoyles trying to do? It was, you know, were they going to crossbreed with the women? You know, that would have been a good angle. But they seemed like they dropped some of the angles. I remember that some of the stuff was kind of like convoluted.
Yeah, that was my only criticism of Gargoyles is that the lore is a little convoluted.
Yeah, it
wasn't super clear, like, what.
Yeah, and I seem to remember hearing that with Gargoyles, that was kind of like an experimental pilot for a series they were thinking about.
A lot of movies from that era were.
They were, if you had got a series with it, they probably would have ironed it out a little bit better. How they were going to go. Might have been a good TV series.
I would have watched it.
Yeah.
That would have been right up my alley when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Tom Baker says, I love Night Gallery TV movies, 1969, 1972. Me too. And matter of fact, over on my other channel, The Scare Salon, I've been very, very slowly working my way through Night Gallery. I don't even remember where I'm at now. I'm in season 2 somewhere. But I did talk about the pilot, which is one of the stories did have Joan Crawford playing a mega bitch that was blind and wanted somebody to give her eyes so she could look at a portrait of herself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it had an ironic twist. So, but yeah, so I'm trying to slowly, like I said, I'm working through Boris Karloff's Thriller also from the early 60s. So I'm kind of trying to go back and forth, episode of Night Gallery, episode of Thriller, and then I'm doing some other stuff too. Actually, the one I'm thinking about doing next, because I just did a book versus movie, because I like to do book versus movie adaptations, and I just did one for Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and the next one I want to do is Richard Matheson's Hell House. So I've actually been rereading his novel, Hell House, and at some point I'll rewatch the movie. And although I remember the movie, I've seen it so many times, but I haven't read the book since I was in my 20s, probably.
While you were talking about that, I remember another problem that fucking was that I had with gargoyles. Whenever they showed the gargoyles moving around, they showed them in slow motion to try to make them have more gravitas.
Yeah.
But they showed them for too long in slow motion.
Yeah. That
was the problem.
You could tell what they were trying to do, but...
Yeah, because if they shot those things at normal speed and showed it to you, it'd be like, yeah, dudes in rubber suits.
Yeah, because rubber's like flapping
rubber
around.
suits flapping around. So you had it. So they showed them too much.
Yeah.
That was part of the problems. When they did show them, it was always in slow motion. You could do it in slow motion, but you should just be little fucking hints of it. You know, like the xenomorphs in Alien 2, they're just fucking almost subliminal flashes of them. Because if you were to look at them, they didn't move very well. They looked fake if you looked at it for too long. You know, they had a good head and everything. They could shoot that right, but running around in a damn fucking costume, it was like a man in a costume.
I mean, that's what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And John Gore said, I believe that was Stan Winston's early work. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it was. But like I said, you know, it was made for TV. I'm sure they didn't
for
know.
gargoyles?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stan Winston.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most of the... In general, the gargoyle costumes looked pretty good.
Yeah.
The main guy looked pretty good. And
Yeah.
his main female, she looked pretty good. The rest of them kind of were like generic. It was like the same wetsuit over and over again with little faces on them.
Yeah, they probably didn't have a ton of time.
Yeah,
they
were
like,
all
hey,
they
we
were
need
all
all
the
these
same.
suits, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They showed them too long.
Yeah, Samantha says like Slee Stacks. They did
like
look
the Slee Stacks.
They did look a little bit like Slee Stacks.
Yeah.
The Slee Stacks used to scare the shit out of me when I was little.
Yeah. I love the Slee Stacks.
I did too,
kid,
but that's like, well,
Yeah.
see, that's the thing. I love scary shit. Mm-hmm. So if I say that something scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, that means I really liked it because I loved being scared when I was a kid. Still do. Tom Baker says, one BBC series I recently saw on YouTube, Dead of Night, trilogy, creepy stuff. I've been wanting to do a review of that for like such a long time because I saw it ages ago, and I never got around to reviewing it. You're talking about the old one from the 40s. I think it's from the 40s, right?
Yeah.
Because there was another one that was made in the 70s or late 60s. I can't remember. That had the same title, but that's not the same movie. But I think there was a British one that was black and white from 1945. I think is when it was, if I'm remembering correctly. So this one, I was going to say too, when we were talking about 70s TV horror movies, one that I always try to recommend, and I'm sure I've recommended it before, was another one that was written by Richard Matheson, and it's called The Strange Possession of Mrs. Oliver, and Karen Black is in it. It's not supernatural, but not really. No, it's not. But that was actually a story that I didn't guess where it was going at all, which is unusual because usually I do. But I'm sitting there, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But like in an intrigued way, I was like, I gotta see what the fuck is happening. And it's like, and I didn't guess like at all. Like so, and honestly, a reveal in that, like I don't really want to spoil it because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. It's from the 70s. There was a reveal in that like literally my jaw dropped open. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like that's how much it surprised me. So yeah. And also Steven Spielberg did one called Something Evil, which was like a possession.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, that one was good too. I
can't place it. I remember that title. I think I saw that one.
Yeah. So that's another really good. So like I said, they made a shit ton of good ones. And we've done the Kolchak movies. We did the whole series.
We didn't do the movie.
Well, I talked about the movies on my Scare Salon channel, but then we did a whole series. We did the whole series.
Kolchak was good, man.
I love Kolchak.
Yeah, it was fun.
So
for its time, that was a real good series.
Oh, and Samantha said I like the Norlis tapes. Yeah, I reviewed the Norlis tapes on my... I don't remember if it was on my other channel or if it was on this channel, but I did a review of that too. So I think somebody recommended it. You could tell that they were trying to do their own Kolchak because it was a different network, but it was because it was the same concept. But it was still pretty good. Had I think it was Roy Thinnis was in it. But yeah, so this one, like I said, this is kind of a middle of the road, early 1970s. TV ghost story. Like it's got some creepy shit in it. Although I will say that I kind of wish they had shot more of it at night in the dark. I kind of feel like it suffered a little bit from too many of the scenes being in well-lit rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see... I think the only scenes that were, like, really dark were, like, the ones that were the seance, and I mean, they weren't that dark. I feel like if you're going to do, like, a creepy horror movie, you need some atmosphere, right? You can't just shoot it in, like, a soap opera-y looking room, you know, with all the lights on. So, you know, so that was another thing why it wasn't quite as creepy as some of the other ones from this era. But, like I said, it's a pretty standard ghost story, but it's a pretty good story. Like I said, you'll probably guess who the ghosts are and what's going on and everything before the characters figure it out. Like, it seems to take them way too long, but you know, it's pretty good for all of that. And like I said, I really did like Barbara Stanwyck in it. So
it was just, they were okay for the time and for television.
Yeah,
you know, and the budget. You know, there's zero budget basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and I should note too that both of these were produced by Erin Spelling, so there's that also.
Yeah, her. Yeah, that's a him. Isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. What do you think of Tori Spelling? You think he was from 90210?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the second one, which I just saw like come up as a recommendation, and I was like, oh, Christmas horror movie. I know it's not Christmas, but you know. And Sally Field doesn't know why. I was like, why the fuck did I never hear of this movie? So I said, all right, we'll give this one a spin. This game came out in 1972, called Home for the Holidays, and this one kind of had a even more stacked cast, because it not only had Sally Field in it, it also had Julie Harris, who played Eleanor in The Haunting from 1963, which of course was based on The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. One of my favorite horror films of all time, like super creepy. And it also has Jessica Walter in it, who modern audiences will probably know as Lucille Bluth on Arrested Development. She was also in that Clint Eastwood thriller from back in the 70s, Play Misty for Me.
I remember that.
Like we still haven't reviewed that. That's a great movie. It's like she plays like a crazy stalker, right? Like he's a radio
Eastwood
DJ.
Just came out with a movie recently. He's not in it, but I think he.
Yeah, well, he's a director in the production company.
I think he's still. That's amazing. I wonder if he's still married to that same wife. She was like 20 when he married her, and he was like 60.
Yeah. Well,
he's got to be about 100 now.
She's gonna keep on chugging long after he's gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a fucking mummy at this point, but it's like he's still chugging along.
Yeah,
so.
It's ridiculous, man.
I guess
he's
that's
a skinny old dude.
Yeah.
He didn't get fat.
Yeah. He can still like glare at people with the best of them.
Yeah. Even though y'all bust that bitch up. The thing is, though,
like I said, he looks like he could just like blow him over.
The thing is about fucking Clint Eastwood, man. Clint Eastwood played a great ass Cowboys, all right, and he had a fucking great face. He was tall, and it was plausible when guns are involved. All right, he beat some dudes up with a damn axe handle in one movie, fucking in the Cowboys. So he made a good cowboy. But he's not somebody you're gonna go hand to hand with, and he became a great cowboy actor because everybody liked working with him. They said he had a sweet personality and was fucking and the cast loved him. He didn't have any kind of he didn't walk around like he was some kind of star.
Yeah.
He was just let's get to work. He was just work
like a regular guy.
Just as a regular guy, you know what I mean? He'd go and hang out with the dudes that were making sets and shit. And that's saying a lot. And that's why he just kept getting work. They liked having him around. And he had his own little studio making fucking spaghetti westerns and shit.
Just goes to show.
So, fucking...
Don't be a dick.
Eastwood, I ain't going to be a bitch about Eastwood because he saved the American Western by making it Italian. Because he was in the good spaghetti westerns fucking too, But he gave it the Italian flair that revived the fucking Western genre. Because the way America was doing it, at that time, fucking stale as fuck. He went post-apocalyptic with the shit, like Mad Max. And the Old West in many ways was like post-apocalyptic. But so the Dirty Harry shit, okay, he's a cop, he's got a gun. But that dude weighs about $150. Tall, skinny dude. I just don't think intimidating.
Yeah, but he did have some...
He had a cool face.
Yeah.
And he had a cool voice.
Like I said, he could like...
Yeah.
Look at you with his eyes.
Yeah, like he was going to do something spiritual to you. What kind of shit is that? Yeah.
Like eye lasers or something.
And Kurt Russell in fucking Escape from New York playing Snake Plissken is doing a fucking Clint Eastwood impression. Snake is a ripoff of fucking Clint Eastwood. And the dude fucking and the dude Russell was playing in fucking Big Trouble in Little China is a fucking John Wayne ripoff. He's doing John Wayne. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, I was just throwing it out there.
Okay. So this second movie, like I said, interestingly, almost like a proto-Christmas slasher. Definitely set at Christmas time. It's not like it's not a Killer Santa or anything like that. But it is definitely set at Christmas time. This came out in 1972. Now, so what the premise is, Walter Brennan, who was in a million things, he plays this old rich guy. And he's dying. And he summons his 4 adult daughters back to the house for Christmas, even though they're all estranged. And they all have their own problems. You know what I mean? Particularly the one... the one that was played by Jessica Walter, like, woo, she's like a pill-popping alky. You know what I mean? Big time. So they all come back there. They're really pissed off about it because they're like, what the fuck does he want with us? Like, we're not talking to him anymore because he sucks. And I think, the cause of the resentment, you learn, is that their mom killed herself and they blame the dad for, like, driving her to it, essentially. So they haven't really forgiven him. So basically he's like, you have to come back here. It's like an emergency. And he sends a letter to one of the daughters, the oldest one, and basically says, my new wife is trying to poison me and you guys need to come here and help me. So he doesn't say that to the other daughters, so they don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, they get there, like, the oldest daughter gets there first, and then all the other ones are like, what the hell? Like, why are we here? And she's like, yeah, well, he thinks that his wife is trying to poison him, so there's that. Now, his wife is played by, like I said, Julie Harris, who was in The Haunting from 1963. And she is creepy as shit in this. Because she's creepy as shit in this, spoiler alert, you know that she's probably not doing what they're accusing her of doing. Because they're so clearly trying to, like, set her up as the anti. That's one thing about a lot of these movies from this era. Maybe it wasn't as obvious to audiences of this time that when you set someone up so obviously to be a creep or the killer or whatever, you absolutely know that that's not who it is. Giallo movies do that all the fucking time. Like, the person in there that's, like, the most sus, it's never them. Ever.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much just mark them right off. If somebody, like, comes across and they're, like, super creepy and super suspicious, yeah, it's definitely not them. So, which is the case here, too. So they all get there, and it's a slasher, but it's kind of more psychological horror at first, because you're not sure because there were rumors, right, that the wife had poisoned her first husband, because her first husband died under mysterious circumstances or whatever, and she, I think, went to trial for it, but she was exonerated. But she's, like, still in this town, like, everybody still thinks she's a murderer and, like, look at her askance, you know what I mean? But she's like, she doesn't come out and say she didn't do it, but she basically gets kind of pissy about the implication that she did it. And she seems fully aware that the old guy thinks that she's poisoning him. But she doesn't really seem to do anything to disabuse anyone of that notion, because she acts sketchy as fuck, like, all the time. I guess she has her own reasons. I don't know. So there's all this kind of push and pull about... Because the dad is basically like, they're like, well, what the fuck do you want us to do? You know, because like I said, they don't really are not really into their dad. They're like, yeah, he's dying, big fucking deal. They're like, the only reason we came was because we thought there was some big crisis that we had to deal with. Like, we don't give a shit if he's dead. Like, we're not gonna come see him when he's dead either. So they get there, and he's like, well, you know, this is happening, and I need you guys to help me. And they're like, well, yeah, what do you want us to do? And he's like, kill her. I want you to kill her. And they're like, what? Like, how the fuck are we supposed to do that? So immediately, like, the youngest daughter, who's played by Sally Field, you can tell she doesn't really want anything to do with this, because she's kind of young and naive and innocent and everything. And she kind of halfway sort of believes that the wife isn't doing that. Like, she just thinks that the dad is imagining it or is paranoid or some shit like that. The other daughters, like, the oldest daughter is pretty much on board with it. The two in the middle are kind of like, they don't fucking know. And like I said, the one that's played by Jessica Walter is just completely drunk and off her face all the time, so she doesn't know what the fuck is going on, you know? So there's all that. So they're sitting there planning. It's like, well, we don't know what to do. We can't really kill her. Like, you know, what if she's not really doing this? You know, she acts suspicious, but, you know, we don't know. But then, one of the sisters, like, I think the second oldest one, she's basically like, you know, fuck all this bullshit. I'm going home. Like, I don't want to deal with this. And she asked the older one to borrow her car. And she's like, yeah, I need your car and drive to the train station. I'm out. And before she leaves, somebody, we don't know who, in a yellow raincoat and little red wellies, little boots, goes out there and stabs the shit out of her with a pitchfork. And then drags her and, like, buries her out by the barn or some shit like that. And the other sisters don't know that she's dead. Because they think she just left, right? Because that's what she said she was doing. And then, the sister that's a pill-popping alkie, she drowns in the bathtub. And there's, like, you know, all this big glass of booze and stuff like that. And they're just like, oh, either she committed suicide or it was a terrible accident. Like, she got real fucked up and she just, like, fell in the tub and drowned or whatever. But we know that it's not that because we saw the person come in and pull her up in the, you know, in the tub. So they're all turning up dead. And, like I said, the movie is trying very, very hard to make you believe that the wife is doing all this. Because she has a yellow raincoat. She has red Wellington boots. She acts like super sketchy. And she's always doing stuff like, hey, I made you some hot milk and honey. You want some? And everybody's like, no, I'm not drinking anything that bitch gives me. You know what I mean? They're all, like, really suspicious of her. Like, it's pretty funny. And they won't let their dad, like, drink anything that she brings either, or eat anything that she brings, because she thinks that she's poisoning him. So there's all that. And, like, it's like I said, it's a really good story. Like I said, it's kind of a slasher because, you know, it's not gory or anything, but, like, one of the people gets killed with a pitchfork, one of them is drowned, and then Sally Field, the phone goes dead in the house, and there's this horrible torrential downpour, and they're like, well, how the hell are we going to get help? And she's like, well, I can just run to the neighbor's like a mile away or something. So she gets chased through the woods, like, in the rain, like, with this figure, and she hides from them and all this other kind of stuff. And as you will discover, and again, spoiler alert, but this movie is, like, super old. It's, like, from 1972, so I don't feel too bad about it. Because they have been setting up the wife as the killer, you know it's not her. Like, even though they're trying very hard to make you think that it is her. And I pretty much clocked from less than halfway into the movie. I was like, I would bet $25 that the oldest sister is the killer and that she's trying to pin it on the wife. And I was 100% correct. That is exactly what is going on. But you know, even though I guessed, I was still kind of like, well, maybe I could be wrong. Like, yeah, maybe they could be setting her up and then they do, like, a double twist. They're like, oh, we're making you think it's not her, but yeah, it's her. But, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. It didn't really diminish my enjoyment of the movie, though. I think, like, the acting in this is really good. Like, I liked the acting in this a lot better than the acting in the other one. Like, it wasn't quite as over the top. Jessica Walter is a little bit over the top, like, especially in a couple scenes, because she's just completely hammered and out of her mind on pills all the time, so she's just, like, overreacting and cutting her wrist and stuff. But she's great. I love her. I loved her on Arrested Development also. So there's that. But, like, other than that, this is all, it's just cool. Like, I really like the kind of creepy cat and mouse kind of thing where you're never really sure. Like, they have all these, you know, interactions, like, with the wife, and she's acting real weird, and they're just kind of like, man, well, you know, they don't know, like, that's what's going on or what. And it's like they don't really know what they're supposed to do about her, or if their dad's just crazy or whatever. So that was kind of cool. And the criticism that I said about the first movie, The House That Would Not Die, where a lot of it was too sunlit, a lot of it took place in the daytime or, like, in brightly lit rooms and stuff. This movie is actually a lot better done in that regard because a lot of the shit takes place at night. There's actually a great scene after Sally Field's character has been chased through the woods by the killer, she assumes, and she kind of makes her way back to the house, and it's all dark in the house, and she can't see anybody, and she's creeping around, and they're, like, trying to hide, And, you know, the Christmas tree is in there, and the shit's jangling on the Christmas tree and all this. And I thought it was really well done, like the suspense and everything. So they do a lot of stuff at night, and it's a lot creepier than... Which is kind of weird, because it's, you know, it's more a slasher, but it's a lot creepier than the Ghost Story was to me, just because of the way it was shot. And I thought, like, some of the suspense scenes were better done. But, yeah, I mean, of the two, I think I liked the second one better, Home for the Holidays. I thought the acting was better. I thought it was creepier. Even though I guessed who the killer was, it didn't really bother me all that much, because I was sitting there thinking, well, I could be wrong. Like, they could just, like, pull out a total random kind of shit. But, you know, it was set up pretty well. But I thought it was slightly too obvious that that's who the killer was. But other than that, I don't know. I really liked it.
It was made for TV.
Yeah.
You know. I'm sure they didn't really think about the script that much. It's probably just thrown together.
Not.
Probably just kind of thrown together. Yeah. And like, oh yeah, we'll do that. We'll pull a number 3, and then we'll do number 6.
We'll pull a number 3.
Yeah. Oh, it's just
it's like formula. It's like ordering a meal.
There's a formula
at the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Well,
I instantly forgot all these movies. Both these movies. I was watching it. I was like, okay.
Well, formulas are. I'm gonna say like formulas are formulas because they work.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to slavishly adhere to them. You can do all kinds of interesting things within that framework. Because here's the thing: it's like if you do anything too fucking weird,
people won't like the movie.
Then people won't like the movie. So you have to kind of give somebody something to like hang on to that they're sort of familiar with. I think in a lot of ways. But, you know, you can subvert expectations. You can, you know, I've seen a lot of movies that had a formula, but then they played with it in interesting ways or upended it in interesting ways, and you can totally do that too. You know, a lot of times that'll piss people off too, but sometimes you gotta piss people off, like making a good movie, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can't just make safe shit all the time. But you have to think that this was early 1970s, this is TV, so
it couldn't be too scary.
Yeah, it can't be too scary.
It can't be controversial.
It can't be too controversial.
Yeah. There's limits
you
to
know,
what
they're
you
just
do.
trying to make something creepy.
It was workmanship. It was workmanlike.
Yeah, they're just trying to make something creepy.
They got it done.
Like, that people were going to watch.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, could the BBC have done it better? Yeah. BBC, they did shit on television that was fucking wild, man. Fucking old Doctor Who. They would get wild on that shit.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? Fucking... They were in a different situation. That was government, public television. You know what I mean? They had to worry about sponsors. They didn't have to worry about controversy and complaints the same way, I think. America had to play it safe, kind of, on television.
Yeah.
Not in the theaters, but in television they did.
Yeah, particularly in the 70s, because, man, they were going buck wild on the fucking theater screens.
Yeah, and if you're in Europe or the UK, you have to understand that for us, television was totally free. You didn't need like a television permit or license to pay for that shit. You just plug the television in, put the rabbit ears up, and you would get some free programming. What paid for that television program was the commercials.
Yeah.
Without those commercials, there'd be no American television. It was centered around who's funding this movie, and who was funding it was the fucking people buying commercials.
And some shows,
sponsors,
particularly back in the 50s and stuff, were entirely sponsored by one company.
Yeah, it might be Colgate toothpaste.
Yeah, or
make
General Electric Theater or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Like that would sponsor it every week.
Right. And because you didn't pay for the service to see the movie, it was like general admission, so anybody could be watching. You know, so they had to play it safe. They didn't have boobs on television. They had on British television. I heard they show some boobs, but
yeah, no, they seemed less.
They weren't worried
about boobs and mild swearing.
Well, the thing is that you had to pay to see that, so it was kind of like cable. You could see boobs on cable television, but their regular broadcast television was kind of like our version of cable. And then our version of broadcast television, Europe didn't really have that. It was just free. You didn't have to do anything except watch those damn commercials. And hopefully buy some. Not from the TV, but
every now and then, if you had the rabbit ears up, you could even pick up some weird like pirate TV
pirate
stations.
Stuff. You try to fucking
some weirdo in their basement,
scrambled fucking porn and shit. Fucking
yeah, those were the days.
Yeah,
everybody, and even when you had cable, but you didn't pay for all the channels, like you try to You'd go to the channel where the Playboy channel was, which is not even hardcore or anything. That was pretty softcore, but
yeah, it was censored porn.
And it was
no penetration.
And it was just like
tits and ass. That's it.
So it's just kind of scrambly. So you're trying to like peer at it through thing. It's like I think I see a tit. You know what I mean? It was like that because we didn't have the Playboy.
Yeah, I saw a nipple go by.
Ooh. Yeah. You know what I mean? Wow, we were so deprived.
Yeah, but the thing is that the television censorship actually drove cable viewing and drove theater sales.
Yeah,
because you didn't have internet, so boys just couldn't get on their phone and see some titties. You had to go pay for a movie or buy a cable package to see some titties. That was it. So they made a lot of money off titties. Back before you could see them. Now the market has dropped. The bottom of the titty market is fucking dropped. It's just they're not worth anything now. But I guess it's been that way in Europe for a long time.
Titties are a cheap commodity.
Yeah, they're a cheap commodity. Every woman has them.
Well, the thing I always thought was
too.
Interesting about not so much British because they had like a lot of censorship problems too, but countries like France, Italy, stuff like that, they always seemed way more comfortable with showing fucked up shit in movies. Like fucked up sexual shit or fucked up gory shit.
Or violence. The British, from based on memory, they were more worried about violence. They weren't worried.
Yeah, they didn't really care that much about nudity, but
America was the opposite. They didn't care about violence. You could cut somebody's head off. That was all good. The thing is, you couldn't show teeth. You couldn't show titties.
You couldn't show tits.
You couldn't show sex. You could show some tits. You couldn't show actual sex or penetration.
That's dumb as shit.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, that's immoral.
It's dumb as shit.
But that dude fucking like mowing down all those people in that movie. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Kids can watch that.
Good red-blooded American stuff. That's fine.
Cool. It's just dumb. It's just kind of like
Well, they were coming out of world wars.
So
everybody shot up everybody. Most of the dudes running around and
deal.
fucking shot up a bunch of Germans and fucking firebombed Japan and
like,
burned all the women and children. So they were hardened to that.
That's how shit.
But damn, seeing nudity, oh shit, that's like, ooh, oh my god, that's spicy.
I'm scandalized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It seems very silly to me. It seems kind of silly and backwards, but you know what I mean. Like I said, if you're gonna show it, just show it all. You know what I mean? Like not shit that's illegal, obviously, but you know, as long as it's fake, no one's worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I watched horror movies when I was a kid, and I turned out fine.
They couldn't even cuss on broadcast television.
You couldn't even say "damn."
No, I couldn't cuss. Yeah, but all those people
until probably the 80s.
You could say
maybe earlier.
You could say in the late 80s. I noticed that last time I ever watched television been the late 90s, and they were starting to curse. They could get away with a little bit. You could say shit every now and then. You couldn't say fuck. I don't think.
No.
They you say shit and you say damn, and then I think if I remember correctly, they started to show limited nudity on broadcast television, like on some of, but it was like brief.
Yeah. It
wasn't like prolonged shots of it. Like you could show somebody's ass. I don't even know if they ever got into the titty action.
No, probably not.
I think,
because wasn't there like a big like joke or big furor about them showing what's his face Dennis Franz's ass on like Hill Street Blues or
there's all
it was Hill Street Blues, right?
Yeah,
like his big hairy butt. So it's like they're like, oh, you want to see asses on TV? There you go.
But it would
there's a middle-aged man's hairy butt.
Yeah, but it would also kind of like leverage. It would leverage the market into buying cable because they made more money off that.
Yeah.
Cable, it was wide open.
Yeah, you could show whatever you wanted.
You could find porn on cable.
Yeah, you could show whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was kind of what was cool about, because like I said, when I was growing up, we didn't have much money, but my dad worked for the cable company. He was an installer. So we got cable for free. Yeah. So we had HBO and Showtime and all that kind of shit, like from when I was a preteen. In
the early 80s when it came out, and for a long time, I remember cable was expensive. It was like close to $100 a month.
That's why,
and that was at a time when that shit would be like paying $250 a month. That was expensive.
Well, that's why
but people were doing it.
We wouldn't have had it if my dad hadn't worked for the company, because we wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Yeah,
that was the only reason we had it, was because he worked for it and he got it.
Yeah, now they can't give it away.
Well, there's just so much. Everything is just piecemeal, which is interesting because back in the day, I always kind of thought, it's like, man, why do you got to buy these cable packages of like 50 channels I'm never going to watch and like 3 channels I will watch? Yeah. But you have to pay for all of them. Yeah. But now it's kind of like what I wanted. like you can kind of pick and choose what you want, sort of to an extent.
If you buy internet here, it's going to come. They're going to want to say, well, for an extra $5, we'll give you all these cable channels. For an extra this, we'll give you that. We'll give you all this fucking streaming shit. We'll give you this fucking pay-per-view. Pay-per-view been around for fucking decades and decades. But yeah, they got porn pay-per-view. But you don't need that. If you got internet, what do you need that shit for?
I mean, I'm sure some people, if they have real specific tastes, I guess, will pay for it.
I think it's mostly just people that people who are not internet savvy.
I mean, you can find free shit. Yeah. Pretty much anything you can imagine. So really, there's no reason.
People who aren't internet savvy, they're living out in the Ozarks in some trailer.
Really, no reason to pay for
with HughesNet fucking satellite dish.
Don't get me started on that.
HughesNet was fucking horrible. We accidentally got HughesNet. We moved in here, didn't realize we had free internet here.
Well, yeah. Well, that's we have Wi-Fi optical tele comes with the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which nobody said anything about.
They didn't tell anything about.
So we got a satellite dish at first, and it was slow as fuck.
Yeah, we were getting satellite.
It was so slow.
Satellite internet, fucking super slow.
Yeah.
And but we got rid of that. Fucking within a few months, we realized that this complex had free internet.
Yeah.
We're like, what? And they didn't have it set up.
Yeah.
We had to call somebody to come in and set it up.
Yeah, because people before were renting the house and they didn't say anything.
They didn't even bother doing it.
I don't think they bothered with it.
Yeah.
So, but
there was a bunch of fucking migrant workers, I think, working in here.
Well, it was
there were supposed to be like 9 of them living in this big old house.
Or it was an extended family or something. Yeah. I don't know. But it was a bunch of people. Because it was funny because for a while on Google Earth or whatever, there was a picture of our house and there was like 5 cars on the drive.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, because I mean it's a big house. It's 5 bedrooms.
No, Charlie's Angels didn't have nudity.
No.
They would try to like skirt the edges. They'd do fucking real skimpy bikinis. Fucking that when you got into Baywatch, it was almost nudity. There was a lot.
See maybe nips through the.
And fucking running on the beach, slow motion, big fucking implants, fucking bouncing, and fucking pretty. You know, they're wearing thong bikinis. You know, they're probably not as good as a Brazilian thong from that time, but I haven't seen that in such a long time. But a lot of that was going obsolete. Because the internet was out by then, or fucking cable porn channels are out, so nobody cared what was on television. You didn't have to go to television for fucking nudity, and really the only people that cared about this shit were teen boys.
Yeah, that was the audience.
That was the audience.
Yeah,
yeah, not grown men. They didn't give a shit about that.
I saw like way more shit on HBO and stuff like that when I was a kid than I probably shouldn't have been watching.
Grown men from that era, the 80s and 90s, were just going down to the fucking local fucking video store and renting fucking horror movies and all kinds of movies. And then there was a porn section. You get some porn movies. You know, they were doing that. I know because I was one of them.
Well, yeah. Because a lot of the mom and pop stores, they didn't give a crap.
Nah. They had porn sections.
Yeah. Some
of the chains had them.
We had a chain. I think it was a chain called Movie Gallery, and they had porn in the back. Blockbuster didn't. That was one of the.
No, Blockbuster did, but some of the other ones. I thought it was West Coast Video.
Yeah, we had Movie Gallery.
There was a back room that had all the porn stuff. You had to go. It said 18 plus only. Then you go back in there and there's all the porn.
But you could see back in there. It was just one of those fucking hippie bead curtains.
Yeah, like a bead curtain.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all it was.
Yeah.
So you could just peek back there and go, "Ooh, that."
Yeah, you get all sheepish and shit. You said, I want to rent that bitch right there. But with that title, I don't want to go fucking take that up there and check that out with that chick working up there.
Yeah, I can
see. It's like weird shit like that, because they can see what you're ordering.
That'd be like teenage boys like buying condoms.
Yeah.
Like
it was another time. It was another time.
You know?
Yeah.
Or actually even teenage girls, like when you have to buy tampons.
It'd be shit like busting bitches in the ass fucking episode 9, movie 9. Busting bitches in the ass episode 10. You know, you're going to do some shit like that. Man, it looks pretty good, man. Oh, it's got what's her name in it? Fucking hell yeah, but this shit's good. I can't fucking check that bitch out though, man. This chick's will look at me fucking crazy because there's girls working up there, man.
How many times did y'all just think about, maybe I'll just stuff this down my pants and they won't notice? Like I'll just sneak out with it. What? I don't have busting bitches in the ass.
Busting bitches in the ass 9.
Down the back of my pants.
Busting bitches in the ass 23. Oh man, the 90s.
Yeah, I remember those days. But my favorite porn title of all time is still My Ass Is Haunted.
Yeah, My Ass Is Haunted.
Which was a belladonna.
Belladonna.
I don't remember the movie being all that memorable, but I'm like, that is the best fucking porn title ever.
Legendary.
it just brings up so many fucking images.
Legendary ass skills. Okay. All right, go ahead and shut it down.
All right, so we are going to shut it down for this evening. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little double feature that we did, 70s TV horror edition. Okay, so Wednesday night's show. Evidently, there's a lot more of you wrestling fans on here than I thought.
Yeah, they want to hear wrestling
because
shows.
You guys overwhelmingly voted for the Von Erich family curse.
Okay.
So, which is, I mean, it's a wrestling family, but it's kind of specifically about like a lot of tragedies that befell them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And how there's like a thing about how they were cursed and everything like that. And I was actually watching kind of a short documentary about it, and I was like, man, that's fucking sad. You know what I mean? It's kind of a sad story. They did make a fictional movie called The Iron Claw, which has, I think Zac Efron is in it, and I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max. So if I have time, I'm gonna try and watch that like before the show too. And there's a time suck on it. I gotta watch that tomorrow.
Good.
Listen to that tomorrow. But I watched a couple other ones, like a British wrestling channel did like a long thing about it and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the topic you guys want to hear about. That's the topic we're gonna do.
Okay.
I don't know jack shit about wrestling, so it's like, please forgive me. I'm gonna try and do as much research about it as I can.
Think the way I look, fucking everybody's, man, you look. They're always comparing me to some wrestler and shit. I don't know much about it either.
Oh my god, that reminds me.
And I know people that wrestle.
That reminds me of people coming up to us saying stuff.
Yeah.
So we were at the bar Saturday night.
Yeah.
Which we had a really good time, but curiously dead. Like a lot of the regulars didn't show up. I don't know why.
Didn't show up for some reason.
I mean, even though it's a holiday weekend, I think there was something else going on.
Something else going on, yeah.
But when we first got there,
there was a birthday.
There was some girl's birthday party.
She wasn't a girl. She was a woman. She was in her 50s, 40s.
Was she?
40s.
Okay, I thought she was a little bit younger than that.
40s.
Yeah. So she was having some kind of birthday party.
They were fucking drunk as shit.
And they were drunk as shit. Like, and it was only like 10 o'clock. We got there. No, it was only 9:30. We got there like 9:15, 9:30, something like that.
They had to clear them out by 10.
And they usually leave by 9:30 or 10. But they were still kind of straggling around. But they were, oh man, they'd been drinking for hours. You could tell. And we go over by the bar and getting our drinks or whatever. And I just knew, I could sense it. I said they're gonna come up and say something.
Yeah.
Because they always do, those kind of chicks.
Yeah. They're the woo chicks.
Yeah.
Woo.
We could hear them from outside. We were paying JR, the door guy.
And I'm wearing fucking black vinyl
pants,
bondage pants, and fucking New Rock boots and leather fucking vest. Like what you guys said, they look like Khan from fucking wearing my Khan vest, my fucking leather daddy hat and shit, and fucking gauntlets and shit. Not gauntlets, but fucking bracelets. And they come up and they're looking at her. Jen was fucking decked out. And they're like, whoa. And then one of them, the birthday girl says, "You think I'd look that good in that outfit?" And I went, "No." You crazy? No.
I didn't hear that.
Shut that shit down quick.
I didn't hear that bit.
And they just kept looking.
But then she very drunkenly came up to me and she's like, "You look so good in that." I was like,
"You think I look that good in that outfit?" And I went, "No." Well, she set her up. Jen works out. Fucking Jen works out.
She wasn't fat, or she was a good-looking woman. I didn't really like look at her all that close.
She was a mid.
Okay, but I didn't look at her all that close.
But I was just had to be truthful. No.
I was just kind of like, I always know when the normies are gonna encroach. I could sense it.
Yeah,
I didn't even turn around.
And they're looking at me up and down.
I could feel them hovering.
Yeah,
there's two of them. I could feel them.
They're looking at me up and down. The other one's going like, oh. Would I look that good in that outfit? No. I popped her fucking balloon.
I mean, I was wearing my little vinyl booty shorts.
Booty shorts with her fucking...
My corset.
And high boots.
And big boots.
Yeah, boobs are up here like this with a fucking long sleeve, fucking high neck shirt with her natural hair.
Yeah, I did my natural hair.
Yeah, her natural hair is looking really good. It's long black hair. Her black hair is getting long. Now she's looking great. Fucking people are like, "That's your hair. It's your real hair." And it's like, yeah. And like, oh,
yeah. But I was like, wow, it must look a lot different with my natural. Well, you'll see because the video that I recorded yesterday for Straight Jacket, the Joan Crawford movie.
She's growing it out.
I just had my regular hair in that one. So I don't think it looks as good on camera as it does in real life. So I'm just gonna say that right now. But which is why I wore a wig now. Yeah. But also I didn't think I forgot to wash it this morning. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, it was kind of funny because it was the first time in a long time that I'd gone out without a wig, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, that's your hair."
Yeah, she tried She tried to get some fucking action. You think I would look that good wearing that outfit? I went, no.
Isn't it funny though that it's just kind of like as soon as we went, I heard the wooing from outside, and I was like, oh god, here we go.
Yeah, like
and because I know that kind of person. They were mostly leaving. Like the party was mostly over. They'd alreys cleared the tables, and it was just a couple stragglers were still there. And
but
Jen's
we go legs are starting to get rock hard. Okay, she's got these.
And I see these two, and you could tell she was a birthday girl because she had the fucking sash on and everything.
Yeah.
Did she have a crown? Maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I remember the sash.
And a sash. I think she had a tiara.
Like I said, I didn't look at her all that close.
Yeah.
But it was her and her friend, and I could tell they were super drunk just out of the corner of my eye because they were kind of like you know what I mean? And like I just knew, I could feel it because if you look like we do and you go to bars all the time.
Americans will think that you're a ride at Disneyland.
Yeah, so you can tell like when the normies are getting.
They want to take
pictures
like,
with you. Oh no! Yeah, they're gonna come over. Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can come talk to us. It's just that you can't approach us like we're fucking
like we're the
tourist
the entertainment
attractions or something. You know, because they dehumanize you.
Well, yeah. John Gora says when normies strike.
Yeah, when normies strike.
It's always the same kind of person. Like I said, and you can tell just from their body language.
Yeah, and you can detect it coming fucking 10 minutes away.
You're like,
oh, shit.
And it's like sometimes I can see them like from across the room, and I'm just like, they're going to be over here, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be over here, and they're going to be fucking asking all kinds of questions.
And they'll get way up in your space.
What
do you got? Can I touch you? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Ooh, can I take a picture with you? Can I put you in? No. We're not friends.
I know.
You know,
I run into it. I run into it in the bathroom a couple times too.
Yeah, yeah. They just think you're a tourist attraction.
Yeah,
they're gonna show you off to all your friends, and the thing is that they're not really cool about it.
They're really obnoxious.
Yeah, and they're like, they don't ask you, hey, who are you, man? You guys look great. That's a totally different situation. They don't do that. They don't care about who you are.
No,
they're just looking about what you look like.
You're like a prop.
I'm gonna show all my friends what you look like.
Yeah, you're like.
And I'm hanging out with you. Fuck out of here.
It's like going to it's like going to a convention or something and taking a picture next. Hey, here's this famous person. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like that, but
you probably feel like the fucking porn star chick with the gigantic fucking implants. You know what I mean? And dudes are just, hey, can I get a picture with you? Can I get a picture? Look at these titties. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
Look at their clothes.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
No, they don't give a fuck about you.
No. So it's like, I always I hate that kind of shit, and I can always see it coming. But yeah, we had that happen, but they left after that. They weren't in any trouble or anything. It's worse when dudes do it because they usually won't leave when you tell them to piss off, but the women usually get barred and they can read the room a little bit better, even if they were drunk. But yeah, so hopefully you guys can come and join us on Wednesday night for the Von Erich Family Curse show. Because, like I said, people overwhelmingly voted for that, so that's what we're going to do. And it actually sounds like a really interesting topic. I didn't really know anything about it, but, I'm doing some research about it, so I'm going to try to do my best. So, it'll be good. It'll be good. So, yeah, have a good rest of your evening, you guys. Again, happy Labor Day if you're in the U.S. So hopefully you had a day off. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night.